Hello, Pally.
Today is Friday, November 30th, 2018.
And InFocus starts right now. Pally students going to Town and Country may have noticed some protesters on the corner of El Camino and Embarcadero. We'll tell you why they were there.
Some Pally students are using a popular app for gamers to help with studying.
And in world news, an earthquake rocks the area near Anchorage, Alaska.
All that and more is coming up on today's show.
Welcome to InFocus. I'm Anushka Sharma.
And I'm Maddie Drucker.
Let's get started with today's campus bulletin. Finals are just around the corner as we start heading into December. Every student knows that final season can be pretty stressful and some of us tend to cram. Thankfully, the Mitchell Park Library is trying to make studying easier. On December 11th, 12th, and 13th, from 5 to 9 after school, the library is offering a great study environment complete with tutors for multiple subjects, food, and some therapeutic activities. Students are invited to bring study materials and enjoy the opportunity to study for finals with people who are taking the same classes.
Another option for students in need of help for finals comes in the form of a popular chat group app. Gamers are already familiar with the popular app Discord, which connects them to each other and facilitates communication by using groups. But thanks to some Pally students, the app is now being used to help students study. Students can go to the link on screen to join the group. The group is open to all Pally students.
Moving on now from what's going on around campus to what's happening in the world and locally today.
Let's take a look at what's topping today's headlines in today's News Minute.
Big news coming out earlier yesterday that President Trump has canceled his meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the G20 summit in Argentina this Saturday. Trump nixed the meeting in the wake of the seizure of Ukrainian ships and crews in the Black Sea by Russia. Trump told the Washington Post Tuesday that he may not meet with Putin in Buenos Aires after Russian forces fired on Ukrainian naval vessels and seized their crews as they were sailing through the Kerch Strait near Crimea.
Just as the horrific fires in California have fortunately come to an end, flash floods are sweeping through parts of California affected by the fires. In Southern California, evacuation orders and flash flood warnings are in effect in some communities affected by the Holy Fire, which burned more than 22,000 acres earlier this year. In Northern California, a flash flood warning remains in effect for areas scorched by the Camp Fire, the state's deadliest and most destructive wildfire.
Alaska is dealing with the aftermath of a massive earthquake earlier today. This video shows major damage to the road near the Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport. You can see half the road crumbled and broke apart. The earthquake is being measured preliminarily at a 7.0 magnitude. It rocked buildings in the city and sent people rushing for cover.
In lighter news, nothing kicks off the holiday season in the U.S. like the annual lighting of the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center in Midtown Manhattan. The tree this year came from Wallkill, New York, and is 72 feet high. Millions of people from all over the U.S. watched the lighting of the tree, whether it was on TV or in person.
Pally students may have noticed the protesters on the corner of Embarcadero and El Camino today at lunch.
The protest began at 11:45 a.m. and ended at 1 p.m. today.
InFocus reporter Sarah Nash was with the protesters earlier today.
Sarah joins us now in the studio.
So Sarah, why were the protesters demonstrating today and why that corner?
Thanks, Mary Anushka. Well, the group is called the Peninsula Palo Alto Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, and they co-sponsored this protest with the Raging Grannies Action League. The corner of Embarcadero and El Camino actually has been a historic place for protests in Palo Alto and is known as Free Speech Corner. The protest began today at 11:45 and ended around 1 p.m. today. The group cite recent events regarding the migrant caravan from Central America that reached the U.S. border earlier this month. Earlier this week, U.S. Border Patrol agents fired tear gas and rubber bullets at a group of immigrants crossing into San Diego from Tijuana, Mexico. The group feels that these policies are cruel and unjustified and, quote, must be firmly rejected. While the protesters believe
this president opens his mouth, he insults another group, tells more lies, and is against the American people in his words and actions.
While the protesters believe this action was unjust, there are some that feel it was justified, including some Pally students.
triggered right now because a lot of them got tear gassed, but what they don't realize is that they were throwing rocks the size of baseballs at the Border Patrol. There were images circulating the internet of people who had like broken eye sockets, like their whole faces were just drenched in blood. And no one even cared about that. They just care about these people who aren't getting let in because they are immigrants. And everyone's like, oh, all these people are so anti-immigrant and they're all racist and everything because they don't want to let these people in. But that's not the case. I'm down to let them in, but I want them to learn our language, know a little bit about our culture, and learn our history before they try to immigrate into our country.
While some disagree with the protesters, Gail Svrdanovich with the Raging Grannies feels that there are parts of the U.S. immigration system that need to change immediately.
First of all, we need to allow refugees to come, and they will report for their court hearings. Statistics show that the vast majority of them do show up for their hearing. We need to, of course, furnish more opportunities for hearings and be more respectful of the fact that they are genuine refugees from extreme violence.
Thanks for that great story, Sarah. Well, Maddie, the holiday season paired with the weather lately has let me enjoy some rainy days by watching Netflix or reading some good books.
Yeah, same with me, Anushka. Speaking of good books, a famous author was born today, and Ori Nearpaws has more.
Who is that famous author, Ori?
Well, Anushka and Maddie, today in history, in 1835, the great American author Mark Twain was born in Florida, Missouri. Mark Twain's real name is Samuel Clemens. He changed his name to Mark Twain after he piloted boats for 2 years. He picked up the name from a boatman's call, which noted that the river was only 2 fathoms deep, the minimum depth for safe navigation. Later in life, Mark Twain wrote many books that became very popular, such as Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. Unfortunately, bad investments left him bankrupt after the publication of Huckleberry Finn, but he won back his financial standing with other novels he wrote later on.
Thanks for that, Ori. Although it is still fall, the winter sports season here at Pali has already begun.
Max is in the studio now with the latest in Pali sports news. Max, I heard there were no games yesterday?
Yeah, that's true, but don't worry. Today, our basketball players will be lacing up their sneakers and hitting the court for some great basketball action tonight. I'll be joining the boys' freshman basketball team on the court today as we play in our first game of the season at Pinewood at 4 o'clock. Later tonight, girls' varsity basketball will ball out at 7 o'clock at Lay High School. Good luck to both teams. That's all from me. Passing it back over to you.
All this rain is making the air so clear now, and it's really beautiful outside.
I completely agree. Way better than a few weeks ago, and I wonder if this type of weather will continue. Well, our meteorologist Ingrid Paichow is in the studio now with today's weather report.
Ingrid, will this rain be continuing this weekend?
Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Anushka. Well, today there's not going to be any rain today. However, tomorrow is going to rain. The high is going to be 56 and the low is going to be 42. There's going to be a wind blowing at 12 miles per hour. The humidity stands at 76, and there's an 80% chance of rain. So we'll definitely be seeing some of that tomorrow. However, on Sunday and Monday, you can see there's not going to be rain. The highs are going to be remaining in the 56 and 57. The lows are going to be 41 and 48. But make sure to bring an umbrella just in case. Now, looking at our 5cast, you can see that there's going to be rain most of this week. The highs are going to be around the 50s and the lows are going to be around the 40s. Now looking at the Bay Area temperatures, you can see that San Francisco and Oakland as well as San Jose, except in Palo Alto, it's going to be a little bit of a warmer temperature. The highs are going to be in the low 60s while the lows are going to be around the 40s. So if you're going this weekend anywhere, make sure to go to San Francisco or San Jose and don't stay in Palo Alto too much since it's going to be slightly colder weather. That's all from me. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks for that, Ingrid. Well, that does it for today's episode.
Be sure to visit our website to check out old episodes, check the bulletin, or to send us an email.
Until next time, have a great day, Pali.